love this movie. It is
Thank
just
you.
so much fun. Thank you for talking with me today.
My pleasure. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. And I have to start off with my biggest question, which is the perspective of this movie being done by a class pet is the most brilliant thing ever. Can you tell me what inspired that? Because I just loved it so much.
Thank you. Well, so Adam had written he'd written a draft of, he had an idea in his head with, to write a musical about kids in middle school. But it was a completely different story. It had a couple of elements in it. The kid who has a drone and the crazy kindergartners. And there was like a narrator, but it only happened like once or twice in the whole movie. And at the very end, it was revealed that it was a snake in the room. And that triggered the whole story for me. I was like,
wow.
You know, because this whole thing, it felt like, okay, this is a nice, cute story, but it didn't feel like an animated movie. Then I saw that little last part and I thought, okay, wait a minute. So he can be the observer and he can be very jaded at the very top of the movie, you know, and then we created this Bill Burr character. I love Bill Burr. And I just love the idea of starting from that point and then juxtaposing the snarky, jaded class pet who's seen every kind of kid, somehow connecting with these kids. And I had fourth grade boys at the time when I started writing this. And I just loved creating problems in these kids' minds that are so minute to adults or to even kids when they watch themselves and recognize like, oh my God, I can't be in band because I wear my older brother's pants and they're high waters and everybody's going to see my shins. Like that was one of the things we had in the original draft, you know, and it was that kind of level of minutia. And then it eventually grows into more serious problems that different kids have. And to the point where he can't even give advice. He just listens to the girl whose grandfather passed away and who's lonely, you know, and that's his solution. And all of that, yeah, and once I had that idea, I thought, okay, first thing was how funny it was, and then I realized, oh, well, this is a great message because I know as a kid, I would have loved to have had somebody that I trusted enough to share my anxieties with. I coped by being funny. You know, that's like, I didn't even realize that I was very popular because I was funny, and so it was like my security blanket, and I didn't need to think about how to actually engage with people in a real way until I got older.
And musical numbers in this, as you mentioned,
Yeah.
just amazingly done.
Oh, that's
Which was your
great.
favorite to see come to life?
Oh boy, I love the
I
song.
know.
I love the song When I Was 10 because it starts off. It's a funny premise, you know, for an 11-year-old to wistfully singing about how when he was 10, life was so much simpler. It's again, it connects with that idea that everything's the most, oh my God, scariest thing in the world. And it starts off, it's very gratifying when we played it in movie theaters to hear the laughs it would get when the kids are talking about my mom was still in menopause and, you know, I thought Big Macs were good for you, whatever it was. And then it just started turns, you know, we bring up the girl with her grandpa and then there's a boy who sings, I didn't care that people died. Because that's my sons, when they were like 4 or 5 years old, they didn't. They thought it was like, they thought dying was kind of cool and weird, you know, they didn't grasp it. And then a few years later, my actual father passed away. And he
sorry.
He had a wonderful long life. And I knew that, and he had also had a long illness. And so there was a part of me that felt relief. But when I spoke to my son, Roey, and he was crying so hard, I realized, like, and not only how much he loved his grandfather, which this is the first time I started really crying because of that, and because I realized that he was absorbing what death was and how painful it can be. And that really touched me. So that moment in that song really, really gets me on a personal level.
Yeah. The song was touching, but the whole movie was touching, and you did such amazing work on it.
Thank you.
Thank you again for your time today.
Thanks so much. Great meeting you.
So nice speaking with you.
In the lectures, fanboys, professional artists, and professors. Maybe be a nerd who's just like you, talking about the things that you like too. So I invite you to the NOC. In full color, you see me